Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bass Chaplain Fishing Podcast, where faith and fishing hook up. We've been gone for a while and took a little sabbatical, and we've kind of been in and out, but we have got an awesome show for you today. I can't wait. Andy and Tanya Birchfield. Let me tell you a little bit about this story. You may not have heard of them, but I bet you've heard of this. Everybody who's bass fished from the time they were a little kid has wanted to fish in Ray Scott's Lake. Ray Scott's Lake. I mean, the founder of Bassmaster designed his own lake, giant bass, called Legacy Lakes. Andy and Tanya Birchfield bought Legacy Lakes, and we're going to have them on today, but that's not the real story. In 2009, Andy and Tanya adopted a child, and they were so moved by that adoption that they went over and bought an orphanage. And they have come up with the Auburn versus Alabama fishing tournament, head to head on Legacy Lakes, Ray Scott's old lake. And we're going to talk about that today. You thought the Alabama-Auburn rivalry was just during the end of football season? Well, it's about to crank up big time for a great cause. Stay tuned for the Bass Chaplain Fishing Podcast, where faith and fishing hook up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bass Chaplain Fishing Podcast, where faith and fishing hook up. I have as my guest today, Andy Birchfield. Did I say your name right, Andy?
You got it.
I did. All right. Welcome. We are so glad. We're delighted to have you here today, man. Welcome to the Bass Chaplain Fishing Podcast.
Great to be here. Appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Man, I tell you, you and your wife contacted me about being on the podcast, and I was just so honored. I couldn't be any more excited about the event that is coming up. And I'm going to let you just tell a little bit about, well, let's just talk about the event first, and then we'll talk about how it happened. So we're going to do Auburn versus Alabama at your house, at your lake up there coming up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. So on October the 20th, we're going to have a fundraising fishing tournament. Is going to pit the Alabama University fishing team against Auburn University fishing team. So they will have their guys here with their boats, and we're going to have sponsors. So you can sponsor, get a seat on the boat. We're also going to have some bank fishermen here, a big crowd, just to come and gather, cheer on their team, fish with these guys for some of the participants. And all of this is to raise funds for Children's Hope and the ministry, the orphan ministry that we have in Jacmel, Haiti.
Well, let me ask you a question. So tell us about Children's Hope. What was the process? Just tell us your story about that. We want to hear about how this thing happened. We're excited. I can't wait to be a part of the Alabama Auburn fishing team on the Ray Scott Lake. I mean, that's awesome. But tell us about Children's Hope first. Let's hear about that story.
So it started really in 2008 when my wife and I, just sensed God's call for us to adopt. We had, two teenage kids, biological kids, but really the Lord spoke to my wife first, and placed it on her heart, for us to adopt. I was a little slower coming along, but I agreed to pray, and so we did, and then and so the Lord led us to adopt. In 2009, we brought a little girl, nearly 2 years old, home from Moldova, which is between the Ukraine and Romania. But just through that process, of adopting and bringing her home, I mean, the Lord just He impressed on our heart, what we see throughout Scripture, the Lord's heart for orphans and for the vulnerable, and so after we brought Hope home, we sense the Lord leading, for us to start, an adoption and orphan care, ministry. And so we talked to our pastor. We invited a group of the leaders, in the church to begin praying, with us about starting an orphan ministry, and the Lord just opened up, door after door. This was in 2010, so it was just after the massive earthquake in January of 2010. So by August, we had arranged for Tanya and I to make our first trip, to Haiti. And so we went there, and the idea at that point was that we would just, we would find an orphan ministry with shared values that we could partner with and pull alongside. Our church has been, for years, mission minded, and there were so many mission opportunities but many of those were like in Africa and India, and really difficult, for families, expensive, difficult for families to make that trip. And so we wanted to kind of meld the two together. We wanted, an opportunity to, support, orphans, help with orphan care, and something that, families could go on mission trips. And Haiti is just an hour and a half flight, from Miami, and so that worked really well. So Tanya and I went to Haiti in August of 2010, and we were looking to just identify an orphan ministry that we could pull alongside. And we visited some orphanages, there that met that criteria. But the Lord led us to these 16 kids that were being cared for by a young Haitian at that point. Their home had been destroyed in the earthquake. They were in a small tent, and so we quickly saw that the Lord had something different. And so we got a rental home for those kids on that trip, and then just followed where the Lord led. And so we over the coming year, we purchased some land and began building an orphanage. And now we have an orphanage with 6 homes and 59 children.
Man, that is incredible. The Bible speaks about true religion. And even though you and I both know that we don't have a religion, we have a relationship with Christ. And, I always, whenever people tell me, well, I'm not very religious, I say, well, I'm not very religious either. I just know Jesus, and I try to follow Christ. But that is, the Bible identifies that's one of the primary missions that we have, is to look after widows and to look after orphans. And what an awesome ministry. Now, you guys not only provide housing and just a place where they can live day to day, but you also provide like medical care, and you have, I've watched the video, and dentists go over and things like that. So not only is this a great event to raise money for this, it's an opportunity. I imagine that, you guys would probably let some churches come in and help with that and just try to do that. How about that? What do you think?
That has been a big part of Children's Hope Ministry over the years. So we've had our ministry, for 13 years now in Jacmel, Haiti, and we have had numerous churches, throughout the South, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. We've had churches from Mississippi and from California, all over. Have sent teams to Jacmel, to Children's Hope, to work alongside us, to care with the kids. We minister to churches in that region. Jacmel and Haiti is a mountainous region, and so Jacmel has a population of about 150,000 people. But there are there are just many of these villages that are just spread throughout the mountains, very primitive, type villages. And so we have planted churches. We partner with pastors in that local area, and evangelism, planting churches is a big part of what we're doing there. we went there with the idea of just partnering with an existing orphan ministry, but the Lord has expanded the scope and the reach of our work, far beyond anything that we could have, we would have ever imagined. So, Chris, as you mentioned, we do have a medical clinic now on site that cares for for the community, and access to good quality medical care. That's pretty hard to come by, there in Haiti. And so we're able to provide, a top level, medical care, not only to the children there in the orphanage, but to the community. And we have Haitian doctors on staff. We have sent a number of doctors and surgeons and dentists, from the U.S. to go down there, mission teams, and stay for a week and minister and help train the medical staff there as well. And so in addition to that, we have the Lord led us to to start schools. And so we have 3 schools in the region that have over 600 students among those three schools. And those are primarily schools for what's called restavics. It's a problem, there in Haiti. It's been for a long time. They're really household slaves, young children.
Wow.
And they would not get an education, but for us providing, these schools that cover the entire cost, for books and teachers and uniforms, because in Haiti you have to have uniforms for a school. And so the Lord has just given us many opportunities to minister to to the families in that community, all in the name of Jesus. And it's been phenomenal to see how he is at work, and just letting us be a part.
This is so awesome. Let me tell you, I can't think of anything. I mean, I know God brought us together. When you think about all the things that you could get involved in, if to help Children's Hope, if you're an evangelist, or if you're a pastor, or if you're a doctor, or if you're a dentist, or if you're a teacher, or if you just want to go and serve, I can't think of a greater place. That's awesome, man. I'm so excited. I can't stand it. That's amazing. It really is. So,
Chris, one of the things that is, going on right now, and one of the a key reason that we're having this fishing tournament as a fundraiser, is because the situation in Haiti, in recent times, has become so desperate. There was an assassination of their president,
right.
And now, the gangs really have control of the capital, Port-au-Prince. And so, so for a period now, we have not been able to send teams, in. But we have, that was one of the things that it's just, it's so amazing to see, how, God provides. So very early, the Lord just laid it on our heart. Look, this is not something, we've had Westerners go in. We've had couples from the US. We have an executive director, from Canada, who, she served in Haiti. She adopted 4 children from Haiti. She spent, a good part of her adult life, in Haiti. But now she's in Canada. She speaks the language. She knows the culture. She communicates. But the Lord just led us to, to train up, the Haitian staff, indigenous leadership. And otherwise, we wouldn't be able to continue. I was talking with some folks that are involved in a number of ministries, across the world, and particularly in Haiti. And since the assassination of the president, about 75% of the ministries have had to pull out.
Wow.
But children's, we're able to flourish. It's a difficult situation, so we're able to provide, food and care and supplies, but the cost have skyrocketed. It's really hard. But we're hoping and we're trusting in the Lord that we'll be able to to return and have teams go back. But right now, we're able to provide the medical care, the care for for the children in the community the through the Haitian leaders, the Haitian team that the Lord has brought to us.
Man, that's so awesome. There was a Bible study years back by a great Bible leader, Henry Blackaby, and in that Experiencing God, and in that thing, he said, if you want to be involved with God, look what God is doing and join Him. Well, I can't think of a better way. God is obviously at work in Children's Hope and what you guys are doing, and I can't think of a better way for you to join Him. And we're going to be challenging people at the end of this podcast to get involved, whether it's financially or whether it's calling up and saying, hey, I want my church to go there, or I want to help in any way I can. And that's pretty awesome. But, our audience is primarily a bass fisherman audience. And tell us about the lake. Tell us about, we're going to do a fundraiser on a lake that anybody that's 40 or over knows about. Ray Scott's lake. Ray built this famed lake and really turned it into kind of like a little turnkey business where he would go and design lakes for people. And behind you right there, you've got pictures of Ray Scott. That's the first thing I saw when you popped on. I was like, that's Ray Scott with George Bush, and that's Ray Scott with Rick Clinton, and that's all the stuff. Tell us a little bit about how the lake came about and what's going on. And let me ask you this: are you a bass fisherman?
I am a bass fisherman. I enjoy it. I do not. I don't fish any tournaments. Only for recreation.
You're a smart man. You're a smart man.
And I don't get to fish enough, but I sure enjoy it. I grew up here in Alabama. My mom and dad were house parents. I started as house parents at the Alabama Sheriff's Boys Ranch, caring for boys who needed a home. And so we spent some time, about a year and a half, in Eufaula. So grew up on Lake Eufaula, and then Logan Martin. Love to fish, just don't get to do it enough. But the lakes here, there are 5 lakes on the property. The signature lake is President's Lake. Okay. And Blessed is just right out my window. And this is a 55-acre lake that, as you mentioned, Chris, well. I mean, Ray Scott designed every inch of this as just a premier habitat for bass. And so that we'll have the fishing tournament here and on Tabernacle Lake. So we're going to utilize 2 lakes, President's Lake and Tabernacle Lake, and great fishing, great fun for a great cause.
Man, that is so amazing. So do you know what the records are in that lake, or what's the biggest bass that's ever been caught out of that lake? Have y'all ever looked that up?
Yeah. So Rick Clunn caught 13-pound, 15-ounce bass. I have it over here on a mount.
Really.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now Rick Clunn's done. He's caught a fish or 2. Look at that bass. I mean, that is the best. Rick Clunn caught that bass. Unbelievable. Yeah. I bet he caught it on a spinnerbait. I bet that's what he caught it on. That's amazing. Yeah. 13-pound bass, Rick Clunn. I'm going to have to tell Rick about that I talked to you, because I'll see him at our next tournament. And so that's amazing. Wow.
Got a place, right over here on the lake called Rick Clunn Hole.
Rick Clunn Hole, really? Wow.
Yeah, where he caught that bass.
That's amazing. I tell you, I've wanted to fish there forever in my life. And your wife said, she said, well, Chris, if you want to come up for the event, we'll put you up that night before. And I said, ma'am, I will sleep in my truck. I will sleep on the porch. I don't care if I got to fish off the bank one cast. That would be
we'll find a bed. We'll find a bed for you, Chris.
Man, I tell you what, that's fantastic. I can't wait to be a part of that event. So we're going to do the Alabama versus Auburn fishing team. Now, everybody knows high school and college fishing teams are the deal now. I mean, you can't go to a lake without a high school or a college team going up. And we've got Alabama versus Auburn. This is gonna be an event to behold. I'm telling you right now. So you've heard about the football rivalry, but never mind the football rivalry. We're going all out on the bass fishing rivalry. So how's that tournament going to work? What's the format like? And so tell us about that.
So we'll have sponsors. There are different sponsor packages. You can see all of this on the Children's Hope website, just childrenshope.com.
Childrenshope.com. Okay. We'll put that up. All right.
Okay. And so we have sponsors, and at different levels you can sponsor and get a seat on a boat with one of the members of the Alabama or the Auburn fishing team. So they'll compete, and sponsors can be on the boat with them. We're also going to have bank fishing, and for those that are not fishing on the boats, but there's another way that you can help support your favorite team, Alabama or Auburn. There on the site there you can contribute, and whichever team raises the most money gets £5 added to their score. So that's going to be the format here, and we'll start on October the 20th. Start that morning.
Well, I've got Alabama and Auburn friends that bass fish that I'm going to tell about that. I'll definitely be telling old Steve Kennedy about that, because I know he'll want to be he wants that Auburn team to win. And I've got a good friend named Ricky Airy, who's a big Roll Tide guy, and Matt Heron and all those guys that so we'll definitely have to let them know that if you want your team to edge out Auburn or edge out Alabama, you better contribute. So what a great event. What a great time. I'm so excited to be a part of it. I can't stand it. And I will be contributing, and I will be there that day, and I can't wait to be a part of it. And it is going to be an awesome, awesome event. And I'm going to try to get on the boat with somebody. I don't know if I'll get on Alabama or Auburn. I'm a Gamecock fan, which is tough. It's tough to be a Gamecock fan, especially when you're playing Auburn. And I am excited about Auburn's new coach, Hugh Freeze, who's a believer as well. And it's going to be a great, great event. And so it's childrenshope.com. And people can contribute, or churches, if you're a pastor out there and you're looking for a missions trip, you're looking for a way for your people to get connected, because I'll tell you, there's nothing that is more life-changing than actually going on a mission trip. I am so pro mission trip. I know a number of years ago, I got the chance to preach in Egypt, and it was life-changing for me. It was absolutely life-changing for me just to be over there and to be able to share the gospel with people and let people minister to me as well. And I think what happens usually is that people end up thinking, okay, I'm going to help somebody. And in the process, it ends up helping them and changing their perspective about why we're here on the planet, because everything that we have belongs to God anyway. And we're going to take nothing with us, and to use the things that we've given for the glory of God. And his mission is amazing. And I just want to tell you, Andy, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your wife and all that you're doing for Children's Hope. And I can't wait to be involved for years and years to come with this Children's Hope ministry and see God do great and mighty things. But folks, if you want to contribute to this, please go to the childrenshope.com and do that. If you can't remember, you can call me. And I'll remind you, but I'm going to be there in October to be at the Alabama versus Auburn fishing competition that is for a much, much greater cause. And hopefully I can beat Rick Clunn's record. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. There's a reason I'm the chaplain and not on the tour, but we're going to have a great time. Andy, thank you for being my guest today. I appreciate you being on the Bass Chaplain Fishing Podcast.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, brother. This is the Bass Chaplain Fishing Podcast, where faith and fishing hook up. Check out the childrenshope.com, and we will see you next time on the podcast. Take care.